This vine did not come out by itself, but rather it was the Father's plan that has planted it as the genuine, authentic and only vine to which everyone must connect if they want to live with God. The Father is involved with his vine and jealously cultivates it so that it bears suitable fruit. So, we have that the vine is Jesus, the Father is the farmer involved in his vine. And later he mentions the branches or the branches, and tells us you are the branches. There the metaphor is completed, showing our role in all this. And as branches, we have only one relevant instruction in this entire metaphor that is repeated several times: remain in me. Jesus is the true vine that we must be connected to, and he says, the basic thing you must do is abide in me. Since you have been united to Christ, live your whole life in Christ. This means that there is nothing in your life and in my life that does not have to do with your faith in Christ. There is no decision, relationship or situation in which Christ does not have influence. So, in this vivid image of the vine which is Christ and the branches which is as comes a very important and at the same time, to some extent, unexpected clarification from Jesus in verses 2 and 3. Every branch that does not bear fruit in me, he cuts it off, but every branch that bears fruit he prunes so that it bears even more fruit. You are already clean because of the word that I have communicated to you. v. 2-3. In these verses we find a lot of teaching about what we can call pruning or cleansing, or purification. But we will refer to this as pruning following the image of the vine and its branches. What do we mean by the concept of pruning? Well, basically, it is the same action that a farmer does with his vine to improve its fruit production, removing those parts that get in the way, that do not correspond, that are a burden for the plant, in such a way that, by removing those parts harmful, the plant may have the way open for better fruit production. Jesus tells us that the same thing is happening with those branches that are united to him, which is the vine. The same can be expected by those who are united to Christ. He can expect that there will be a purification of his life. He can expect that things or issues that are hindering him from being more productive in faith in Christ will be removed. Jesus says that this happens to those who remain in him, the true vine. We are pruned so that we bear more fruit. Of course, sometimes, pruning is not a very pleasant thing at the time. When you are suffering, when you have to put patience, perseverance, trust into practice. Surely, it is not very pleasant at the time of pruning. But God is working in her so that you can bear more fruit and come out of that situation being a more mature person, more patient, more humble, quicker to listen, less prone to anger, more full of love for God and those who love you, surround. But let's make some observations of this pruning process in your life and in my life for the fact of being united to Christ. First, let us observe that pruning is the work of the Father. This process of purifying your life and my life, this process of removing what is in the way, is not a human initiative, nor is it the work of the devil. Jesus says that the Father, who is the husbandman, is actively involved in his vine. The Father removes those branches that are disconnected from the vine, and it is also the Father who prunes the good, fruitful branches connected to the trunk. So, if you have been joined to Christ, think a little differently about that situation that you are living. If you say, why now that I am a Christian or I am in a relationship with God, I seem to have more stressful or difficult situations. Where is God now that I am having a new life in Christ? Why am I being confronted with things from my past? Why am I having to go through the suffering of rethinking every day where I am going and what decisions I should make next? How has my life become complicated now that I am doing my best to be a faithful disciple of Jesus? Well, the answer is that if you are in union with Christ, the Father is not going to leave you untouched. The Father, the farmer, is so involved with his vine that he dedicates himself